Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I need to start by saying how excited I am to talk with you. Been a long time fan. Early days, like dealing with Eric Roberson and Angel, and of course, one of those mega fans of you singing chords with Snarky Puppy. So
thank you.
It's so great to talk to you. Congratulations on your nominees this year.
Thank you.
3. I know this isn't anything new for you. I know you've got 5 wins, but this is the first album on your label, right?
Yes, this is the album that's on Hathaway Entertainment, which is Cru Caroline. Mm-hmm. This is definitely the record that I made sort of by myself and for myself. So, yeah.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit about, honestly, what was your thought process, your creative process? What got you going with this album?
You know, I was actually listening to music and heard a young producer and liked her sound and wanted to see how that would work. And I think we went into the record not knowing sort of how it was all going to flesh out, but hoping, I know at least I was hoping that organically I would sort of have a message revealed to me in the record, in the making of the record.
Okay.
And so what happened was we would just get together. She'd had these beats, and then we just write to these beats. You know, in a lot of cases, I think people are so used to me presenting with a live feel or some combination of live and programmed or there. But I was really interested in making a record which was sort of a slight pivot away from what people know me to do. And so the record really was an organic kind of coming together of all these thoughts and feelings and the sounds that she was creating and the lyrics and melodies that we were both creating. And the creative process was simple. It was really easy. I'll just go hang out, you know, get some coffee and write, you know.
And it's to me, when listening to the album, it sounds, you know, like the songs are somewhat relationship driven. Is that somewhat correct?
Well, I think it's absolutely correct.
Okay.
Specifically, if that's the way you perceive it.
Okay.
The record is meant to read like poetry. It's meant to evoke whatever feelings come to you based on your experience. And I think a lot of the songs I did start as kind of relationship songs, particularly YOY. Mm-hmm. But as I sat back and looked at the record, I feel like, particularly honestly, it was really a song about how I felt. As a woman of color, like living in the United States and looking at the news every day. We have been through like the best and the worst year ever. And I think art serves to point that out. Art serves to take all of the woes and the evil and the bull of the day, and convert it into a message that people find palatable, to convert it into a message that people find beautiful or shocking. Or maddening or disgusting or terrifying or scintillating or sensual. And I really wanted the record to evoke some of those emotions and feelings from that perspective.
Right. It reminds me of, I believe it was Nina Simone who said it's, you know, the duty of an artist to speak on the times in which we're living.
Absolutely.
You know, and absolutely that stands out to me. Just the year in terms of politics and just
daily... Was there anything else during this year? Did anything else happen?
Honestly, I don't think so. I would say that, you know, it's all relatable in terms of what's happened, what's happening, and what we can expect to happen. But I think, you know, as a music fan and as a listener, it's always encouraging to have those works that are relatable and that are encouraging. So grateful for that. So when it comes to your writing and recording process, what are those like? Are there any musts or must-nots, or is every situation different?
Every situation is different, honestly, and I must be laughing at some point a lot, and I must not ever get bored. Those are the only musts and must not. I really like working in an environment that's fun and lively, because that brings music out of me. I like to have fun. I like to laugh. everything is different. Sometimes you're met with a 4-bar loop and you have to write a melody. Sometimes you have a whole song in your head and it all comes at once. Sometimes there is a real meeting of the minds where the music and the melody and the lyrics all come together at one time. Right. So I'm grateful for the experience of collaborating with other artists.
And what about Made for Love with Charlie Wilson? Walk me through that.
Okay, so Charlie Wilson, whom I'm like the biggest fan of.
Legend.
You know, I have told Charlie this story that when I was 12 or 13 years old, I'd be at the roller rink in Chicago, at the Rainbow Roller Rink, and Yearning would come on and they would say, all right, it's the Cat Band. It's time for couple skate. And of course I was not in a couple. So that would be the time where I would go over to like the Millipede or the Jungle King machine and hone my video game crafting. And I would always sing along to that record in that same key. So that song has meant so much to me my entire life. He had the song that he wanted me to sing on. And I got to the studio. We recorded at Snoop's studio. Okay. And I got there and I was sick. I wasn't feeling very well. And I kept trying to sing and it wasn't feeling like, I didn't like the way I was sounding and the way that it was coming out. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to go get a donut. And I'll be right back. So I left for about a half hour. I went and got a donut. All right. And came back and recorded that song. And it's such a great song. I think a lot of people missed it because it was never like a single. It was never on the radio or anything like that. But it's such a great song. And his voice, for me, is one of those eternal voices. It just doesn't change. It hasn't degraded not a bit in the last 100 years that he's been out there doing his thing. So I'm honored. I really hope that we win more than we win. I hope that he wins because I think he has been nominated 13 times and has never won. And I think he is one of the greatest singers of our time. Absolutely.
Are there any other artists that you've worked with that, you know, those songs are really stand out to you as favorites or things that you're just really proud of?
Yeah, I'm proud of all my work. And I don't say that lightly. You know, there are some things that I have done that I thought differently after doing, but mostly what I do is stuff I choose to do. And I like to work with people that I think are great because I think it makes me great. I really feel like that rubs off on me. The work ethic, the sound, the intention, all of that rubs off on me. So I don't really mess with anything that I'm not proud to do, really.
Right. Do you think a lot of artists can say that, or do you think it's different all across the board?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, one thing you'll learn about me is I speak for me. I try not to speak for anybody else because I know that my point of view is mine and I can vouch for that. I am super serious about the work that I involve myself with. I'm serious about my craft and what I do. Is everybody? I don't know, but I am.
So talk to me about Why Oh Why. You said that one started specifically about a relationship, and that's definitely one of the songs that is nominated. What was kind of the evolution of that track?
We had a track. And I can't even remember. It kind of flowed out really quickly. And it was a personal experience, a personal hurt, which is why it's so gratifying that people have embraced that song. It's just one of those messages that I knew, simply put, everybody has that question about something. Right. Why did this happen? Why did you choose this route? Why did you do this? Why did this happen? So that one kind of, all the lyrics sort of came at once. I think we wrote that one. She had the track, and I think most of the lyric ideas sort of came out of me all at one sort of time.
Okay. Yeah. Were all of the songs different? Were there any songs on the album that just took a while to get there?
Songs that took a while to get there? Not really. I think we had a really easy time working. I think that I had a lot of fun in the studio with Tiffany Couché. Yeah. She's really talented and working toward being like a really great producer.
Mm.
I really feel like the record just sort of unfolded for me, which is nice when that happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do find that when I set my mind to that and have that intention, that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really looking forward to, 2019, getting in the studio with some folks. I'm starting some work with Robert Glasper in a few weeks, and Kiefer and Phil Boudreau, and I've been doing a little bit of work with Dr. Dre, trying to get back and do that. Some work with Jonas Martin. So I'm looking forward to just getting back to work.
Yeah. And this year at the Grammys, your father's being honored, right? Lifetime Achievement Award. So
Yes.
What does that feel like? It's almost like a dual excitement, I'd imagine.
It's surreal. It's like imagine me somewhere where my daddy's being honored, and it's a surreal idea. The idea that it's taken 40 years. That's the first thing. That B, that the music and the sound of his voice is just as poignant and relevant today as it was 40 years ago.
Right.
That I'm here to help kind of remind y'all, like, hey, that was some bad stuff that happened 40 years ago, and it's still the baddest. You still ain't gonna beat it. It's just really amazing to be even associated with such a legacy like that. And in my mind, for me, he's the greatest singer ever. And that we are here today is such a beautiful affirmation of that in my mind, in my heart.
Do you ever feel like you hear him in yourself when you're singing, when you're recording or performing?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes. It's weird. I had an epiphany a couple months ago. I don't necessarily always sing out like in my house. You know how people just walk around and sing. I don't necessarily do that a lot, but sometimes I do. Okay. And sometimes I get kind of lost in that, and I know that that's my daddy coming through me when that happens. I know that is spiritually what's happening. And I'm just at a place now where I can embrace that and let it flow through me without intellectualizing it, which is a thing that I tend to do.
Right.
And just let it happen. So yeah, in the way that sometimes you're speaking and you probably hear your mom's voice. Absolutely. I hear my mom and my dad. So, yeah.
I think when in the early years you might hear it and be like, oh gosh, I sound just like her.
Yeah.
At least I have. But then I feel like you start to learn, you realize, okay, she might have been right with saying that, or not too far off.
Absolutely. And I'm with my mom so much. People really don't necessarily give my mom like her 50% DNA credit, like she just hatched me. But I definitely sound like my mom too. And a lot of people know my mom and can attest to that.
So what you're excited about this year? Is there anything you can kind of tell us about that you're working on, or I know you said there are multiple artists that you're currently working with and going in with. Is another album, touring? Like what can we look forward to?
Yeah, all of that. I don't know when the album's going to come. I don't know what's going to happen. Robert Glasper and I did a gig where we just did piano vocal, and I thought, what a great idea. Sort of like, the Joe Sample record, but that's a different record. I really am excited about organically sort of seeing how things go and where they go with Robert. I'm clearly through the moon that Dr. Dre would even consider working with me. I'm really excited about that. Kiefer, I'm super excited about. What happens is I just go on my Instagram and I just stalk people that I think are cool and just say, hey.
You slide into DMs?
DM time. I will slide into your DMs and be like, hey, can we write together? Can we make some music together?
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to all of it.
Now, you mentioned Tiffany that you worked with on Honestly. Are there any other, up and coming artists whose work you really admire or you're excited to hear more from?
Yeah. I'm really on an Anderson .Paak trajectory right now.
Mm-hmm.
Kiefer, I said him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to seeing what her
Yeah.
does. Her. I want to know what her mother calls her so I can stop calling her so I can be more clear. But I'm so excited to see like a young woman stretching and playing instruments and singing real good and just being cool. I'm very excited about that. There are a lot of things happening right now. I'm really interested in finding new music. You know, I'm just over the last year and a half, I've discovered a lot of new music and people that I really feel like I want to work with, and some folks that I want to go back and work with. But a lot of them are, you know, first timers for me, like working with Ninth Wonder. I really want to work with Ninth Wonder. You know, I would love to work with Rhapsody. We're on a Kendrick Lamar record together, but we've never actually worked together. It's a lot of folks, a lot of stuff to do and very little time.
And would you give any advice to budding artists on things that you've learned along your journey that you wish you had known sooner, or that you would pass down?
The number one thing I would tell an artist right now is to follow your instinct. That is the most important thing you will do for your art and for yourself. The second, these are a close first and second. Get a really good attorney. Those people are very valuable in your life. I have definitely learned over the last 30 years of making records, if you can believe that. Even sometimes now I'll have an idea and I'll think, well, no, I don't know if doesn't look like, that's not what so-and-so's doing. That's not how they're doing it.
Right.
And the number one thing I've learned, at least in the last 5 years, is to follow my instinct. Because I would rather die by my own sword any day than have someone tell me something and do something that I didn't believe in or I didn't think was the right thing for me to do.
Now, back to Honestly, do you have a favorite song? It's three. Favorite song? No? That's quick.
I don't.
One. Not
no,
one
song. I really don't. It changes all the time, but it's like saying, literally, I keep saying this, if of all your fingers, if you had to only choose one or two of all of them, it's all a continuum for me from the first record to now. And at times I have different favorite records, and a lot more than the most of them. It's self-portrait sort of for me because it was a kind of pivotal record for me.
Right.
But it does change, and they are like your little children that you send out into the world, you know.
What about lyrics? Any
lyrics.
Any lines that kind of stick out to you as, I mean, they don't necessarily have to be favorite over the rest.
Favorite. But... You know, one of my favorite lines that I've ever written might be, you see, the tragic inevitability is that you and me will never be the way we were. I think that is like so sad, and it was so true for my life at that moment. Ageless and evergreen. I like that line.
Right.
I'll never be able to use any part of it anywhere else because inevitability does not work on the radio.
Oh, Lalah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I love speaking with you, and I'm so excited. We're just, what are we, almost a month out? Yeah. Almost a month out from the Grammys, so got our fingers crossed for you.
Lord, what will I wear?
That's a good question. You don't have anything in mind yet?
We have things in mind. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm very excited. My mom is going to be with me, so I'm going to dress her up too, like a doll. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm excited. It's true what they say. Like to be nominated is such an honor. And it really is. You are high until the moment that they tell you that you lost. And that's when it all comes crashing down. But until that moment, you live it up. So I have so much hope, and there's so much promise in the year. I'm really excited. And the categories are so strong.
Oh, yeah, completely agree.
About the categories, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really exciting to see. and you know, to see what continues to come as well.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Always. We'll have to do this again sometime, because I see a lot of hearts and questions and things
coming
thank you
through.
For the hearts, people. A lot of love here from those watching and from us at Kobalt as well. So thank you, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye.
Honestly.